Hi, I'm Kit Cassingham, founder of and Chief Energizing Officer at Live in Focused Energy. Let's talk more about mindfulness today. I told you I'd share my 3x2 framework, but first I want to share a few more ideas I've had on it about the topic. I've been talking about mindfulness with this focus for getting close to 3 years now, and every time I talk about it I find that I'm getting just a little more specific and concrete with my explanation. I guess that means I'm understanding it better. And last night, one thought that came to me is that life is like a smorgasbord. There's so much to choose from. And it's your mindfulness that helps you get through the life or the smorgasbord. It's like your map. Mindfulness is deciding exactly how you want to... Got a cat trying to get in the curtains. Sorry. That's not mindful of me, sorry. It's exactly how you want to spend your time, your energy, your life. Are you going to take control, or are you just going to let it flow with the tides of life, the wind, whatever? We had a most beautiful rainstorm a while ago. It scared all the cats. They all went into hiding, except the old one. She hung out and just slept right through it. That's mindfulness. Through mindfulness, you create those connections with yourself, those honest and powerful connections that let you be who you are. Mindfulness takes on different flavors, and I'll talk more about that tomorrow, but it manages, it helps set up your confidence, or it helps you overcome your fear, or maybe your mindfulness creates your fear. But that's what we'll talk more about tomorrow. Today I want to talk about that smorgasbord, and how do you get through life, through that smorgasbord. My 3x2 framework is: decide that you want to be mindful, that you're going to be mindful. You may take a step forward and 2 back, but eventually you're going to take 3 or 4 forward steps and then maybe a step back. It's going to require work. It's hard to learn how to be mindful. It takes mindfulness to be mindful. It's part of the joy of life, I think. So the second part of my framework is planning ahead. When you know you're going to, let's say, throw a party. I'll use my mom as an example because she was such a fabulous hostess, threw so many wonderful parties that would put most people in a tailspin. But one way she did it was by making lists. As she planned the menu, she'd then start a list of the ingredients she needed, the cooking utensils, the serving utensils. She'd have her list of who's coming, therefore how many plates and cups and napkins and knives, spoons, forks she'd need, the flowers, the appetizers, all of those things, the decorations, in lists. That is planning ahead. And then if she had a big crazy party, as she put things away, she'd check them off just to make sure she hadn't misplaced something or thrown it away. She was really good about making sure she didn't throw utensils and napkins away. That is planning ahead. And that's what you need to do to support your mindfulness with whatever it is you're doing in life. Starting a business, starting a sewing or cooking project, starting a computer programming project. I could go on and on with examples. It takes planning ahead, thinking about it, projecting yourself into the future of how you're going to go through it with confidence, the steps you're going to take, and how you're going to come out a winner at the end, successful. And the third item is review your plan, review your decision to be mindful. At the beginning of the day, part of my gratitude in the morning could be, and maybe this could become another step for me, reviewing my day. What am I going to be mindful about. I'm going to be mindful about moving more. I'm going to be mindful about eating carefully so that it's a clean diet. Sometimes I'm going to be mindful about one quality piece of a sweet or dessert. That's okay if you're mindful, unless that bit of mindfulness goes against some rule you've got. If you're severely diabetic, you may not want to do the sweet. But anyway, so those three things: decide to be mindful, plan ahead, review. That's the three. The times two is write it down. In one way or another. And writing it down is part of it. Who do you want to be in the world, to be seen as, and how do you want to feel? Write that down. How do you want to be energized? Write that down. Write down what you're going to do to be mindful. Write down your plan. Write down when and how you're going to review things. Whether it's a calendar entry, a journaling entry, whatever. Write it down. Sticky notes, index cards, a lot of choices. And the second one is to use reminders. I love electronic calendars because of their alarm option. And when I need to really be sure to do something, it goes in the calendar as an entry with an alarm, so I do that. This afternoon we're going down to the Ridgeway Fire and Ambulance Barn to help show it off. We're having an open house. It's in my calendar so that I know when to go. Not just when to be there, but when to leave. That is a wonderful way to remind myself. I also can enlist the help of friends or family, associates. Please help me remember this. Another thing I use that's not really part of the 3x2 framework is when I, for example, want to remember to tell Randy something or to put something on a list. As I recite what they are, I click my fingers and then hold it. It's like, okay, I have 3 things to say to Randy or 3 things to write down, and I review that. Notice I said write it down. And I may get to the second one and go, what was that third one? If I'm still, calm, mindful, that third one comes to me 95% of the time. And half of the rest of that 5% will come to me later on, most of the time. All right, so what are you going to do? Are you going to adopt this 3x2 framework? Decide to be mindful. It's going to help you, whether you're just a busy person or you're somebody with ADD or somebody whose partner or kids have ADD. Or maybe you just have ADD moments. Deciding to be mindful goes a long way in overcoming all of those drawbacks. Planning ahead. Reviewing. Write down your decision to be mindful. Write down your plan. And write down how you're going to review it. And use reminders. Especially for the plan. What are you going to do? So that's my 3x2 framework that's helping me with my mindfulness. Would love to see how it's going to help you. Your mindfulness is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I hear people say, oh, I can't do that, I'm not even going to try. Well, they're right. They can't do it if they're not going to try. Or a friend of mine said, there is no room for fear in my life. That was her level of mindfulness. Boy, has she lived up to that. She's become a fearless woman. She has the fear. It doesn't hold her back. And we'll talk more about this kind of thing tomorrow. But I wanted to point out that your mindfulness makes or breaks your plans, your intentions. Your mindfulness propels you along your path or holds you back from your path. I have a beautiful quote. Well, I thought it was beautiful. I'm going to share it. Mindfulness emerges when we feel personally powerful, which allows us to acutely be attuned to our most sincere selves. That's mostly what Amy Cuddy from Presence, a book she wrote, said. She said presence emerges. But presence and mindfulness, for me, at least for this discussion, are much the same. As you learn to master your mindfulness, remember that it's incremental changes, baby steps. It's a moment-by-moment experience. When you fall off the mindfulness, shake yourself off, stand up straight, remember your decision to be mindful, and get back at it. You will find that as you accept the small incremental changes and accept that you'll slip as you're learning this new trick or improving an old trick, that your mindfulness will get stronger and better. You will be in charge of your life. You will be in touch with all that makes you who you are and who you want to be. It's been working for me. I know it's going to work for you. Tomorrow I'm going to do a little more on mindfulness. And until then, have a great evening. And I will see you tomorrow where we'll talk about more mindfulness. I'm Kit Cassingham. Live in focused energy.